First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Design.
We're joined by meteorologist Lee Southwick. This is what we're calling Weather Watchers Worldwide, and that's because worldwide. Why not? And we're looking at the global weather here coming up. First, we're going to talk about the local forecast and the extended forecast across the United States. Some of the big weather events around the world over the past week, talking about some impacts not only locally, but even from the tropics to colder areas. And we take some of your weather questions. I put out on social media yesterday, hey, you got any just general weather questions? And I got about 50 responses. I'm going to take just 3 of them, but in our future episodes, we're definitely going to use more. It's a lot of really good questions there. So with that said, Lee, how are you doing today? What's new?
I guess I'll just tell everyone. So usually I like to turn and talk to you, but I messed my neck up. So that's what's new in my world. Besides that, I'm looking forward to the warm up on the way for us locally, but I know you and I got to talk about a really big cool down too.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's ups and downs. If we're getting the warmer air, somebody else might be getting the colder air. And oh my goodness, look at Bismarck International Falls out there in Montana.
Heck no.
Well, you're not a fan of that. You don't want to be in the 20s. It's just, the face says it all.
It's literally 73 degrees in Jacksonville. I'm wearing a jacket. So that tells you how
I
deal with the cold weather. Anything under 75 is cold to me. So no, thank you.
Now, there is a chance the southeast, including Jacksonville area, maybe not 28, but those 30s we could be having.
Yeah. I think.
What are you going to be wearing then?
We could have our first freeze. And did you ever? Is it A Christmas Story where the little kid's all bundled up and he can't put his arms down? Oh, that's going to be you? Yeah, that will be me Tuesday morning.
He's fucking doing the weather like this, like a penguin, kind of.
Yeah, literally. I'll do a live shot from outside. It's cold.
Yes, please. I mean, Lee and I, we covered snow last year. You weren't too bundled up. You definitely were layered.
There's a difference. It was snowing, and I don't ever see snow, so I was pumped. We had the adrenaline pumping. Yeah, so that's different.
A very cold day is horrible compared to 33, 34 and snowing.
Yes, when it's snowing, it's fun at that point.
The worst weather, in my humble opinion, is 40s and raining.
Oh, yeah, that's disgusting.
Exactly.
That's because then it also it can soak into your bones easier if you get caught in the rain.
It doesn't dry. Snow, you just kind of knock it off.
The rain just...
Well, there's going to be a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest kind of seeing weather like that this coming week. This is Thursday and the Friday. And also off towards the Northeast, even a little bit, dare I say, lake effect kind of getting kicked up there off of parts of Ontario and Erie. And then you see here heading into Friday, another round of snow across parts of the Midwest right there by Sunday. But this front that's attached to this is going to be the catalyst to usher in some exceptionally colder air here across the southeast. So you get snow into Michigan, the Illinois, Indiana, parts of upstate New York, but that is going to wrap around. And I'll let you talk about this graphic here, Lee, because this is yours right here.
Okay, yeah, this is local weather. This is Jacksonville. And hey, the fair is coming to town, and we are all going to be on a roller coaster ride, including our temperatures. Today, we have a high right near 80. Saturday, a high near 85. And then boom. So temperatures plummet with that front moving through, and that's your low. So we're not saying a high of 34, we're saying a low temperature of 34. But that's Tuesday morning. That's the morning where we could have freezes in place, frost. I think a lot of people in Southeast Georgia and our inland areas, you got to start covering up your plants. So just crazy to think about 85 to the low 30s. And so you can see here, this is your frost and freeze forecast, and it is likely, literally, Robert, the bottom drops out. It goes from unlikely to it's happening in Waycross, right? Yes, this is out of Waycross.
Yeah, and that's where actually we were for the snow last year. They get you have less modifying effect coming in off of the ocean, out of the Gulf there. So you're a little bit further towards the north, obviously, too. So they get those colder snaps a little bit harder than you do into the Jacksonville area. You mentioned the fair. Do you have a warm weather and a cold weather fair food? I was just thinking about that because I'm like, okay, because if it's in the 30s, I probably will gravitate more to like hot sausages or something like that.
So, because my favorite fair food is actually a drink. It's lemonade. Like if I'm going to the fair, I'm getting lemonade. But you're right. If it's cold, I'm gonna get a hot chocolate. They will be serving it. Maybe even a warm cider. But that's where
cider would be perfect.
So in my As I've gotten older, I've veered away from funnel cakes, but I am sure if I walked past and smelled a warm funnel cake and it was in like the 40s and 30s, I'm getting a warm funnel cake.
Then you're just going to hold it.
Yeah.
You're going to eat it. Just powder everywhere.
Yeah, literally. But it would be so worth it and so good.
Well, yeah, the Jacksonville Fair is in town, by the way. We keep talking about the fair. That it's last time downtown Jacksonville, and we're kind of excited about it. It starts on our Thursday here. And it's going to be warm for the first few days, but there's that cool down. This is actually that extended outlook, not only for the southeast, but the entire eastern seaboard. How far south do you think snow could extend? I was seeing northern areas of Georgia might see, maybe not accumulating, but maybe some of it in the sky there, Lee? Yeah,
because I was trying to also look at some of those freezing lines, and, it's possible. I saw ice possible for places in the Carolinas. So, for exact snow, you're catching me off guard here because I didn't look this morning. This is as of yesterday. And as we know, things can change quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't put it past maybe far northern Georgia, right on that border with Tennessee.
Higher elevations.
And exactly, when you get up into the hills and stuff like that. Is that what you were seeing, Robert?
Yeah, same. I think there's going to be some people across parts of the Carolinas and northern Georgia that might be a little surprised. Not everybody, maybe some sleet, little freezing rain, which always can be messy.
But you know what it is? The time of year it's not like this is uncommon or shocking.
100%.
It is a little shocking when you go from 85 to 34, but at least we showed Waycross and the possibility of a freeze, and usually they get their first, I believe it's frost.
Yeah.
Early November, like it could start November 1st. And so it's just that reminder that we're moving back to that time of year, but this is also the time of year where we get these big swings. We have stronger cold fronts moving through, but then a lot of places can warm right back up.
I think up north at least, not so much a Florida problem, but a lot of times people in the winter, start of winter, forget how to drive in the snow.
Oh, man.
So you get like those first ice, the first snaps of snow, and then everybody's like just gunning it, and they like, okay, hold on, I got to slow down.
You would know. You're an expert at driving in snow. He proved that in Waycross last year. This year. It was January. It was this year.
Tell my insurance bill that they can lower it, okay?
Okay. Y'all heard it here.
So this is the full super moon, the full beaver supermoon. That was last night and tonight. It is the largest and brightest moon of the year. A little bit of a swing here in topics, but I do want to mention it just because a lot of people have been sending us in photos. Our First Coast News weather watchers, ton of photos have been sent in. If you got any photos, send them our way. We'll get them on air here at First Coast News. Absolutely love it. The Lou's complaint is that don't ever look directly at the sun. Don't do that either. But don't take a photo directly of the moon zoomed in. Try to have some contrast, maybe like a tree in the foreground. Also, the Turin meteor showers taking place, the southern Turits, and it's this full moon, so they're going to be washed out. My fantastic graphic here showing Super Beaver blocking out the meteors.
Super art. Beaver, it is art. It's beautiful. You did a great job, and it perfectly illustrates for a 4-year-old child how the moon is so bright. The Super Beaver moon is so bright, it's blocking the meteor shower.
I want to say there's a lot of adults. We gotta animate it like this. They'd be like, oh, okay. Although some people might think the meteors are actually like hitting us. That's just an illustration there, guys.
Yeah, and he's not actually blocking and like sending it away.
That is not a real beaver.
It's just the light is canceling out our ability. It's, as Robert said, it is the brightest moon of the year. It's so bright, it is not giving us that visibility of the meteors in the sky.
All right, so that's a look at the forecast, look at a little astronomy there for you. We're going to take a quick little break here. We'll be right back because I want to talk about what's happening around the world.
Cut the cord, get the app, stream free. Download the First Coast News Plus app, your trusted source for news, your weather, all your sports, and so much more on your time. Yeah, your schedule. Get your most accurate forecast, your weather impact alerts, extended breaking news coverage, and exclusive specials at a time that is convenient to you and your family. Download First Coast News Plus and watch for free right now.
I knew I needed physical therapy to be able to get back to doing the things I want to do, specifically golf.
Throughout Brooks Rehabilitation, with the 50+ locations we have, we see people with many injuries across the board. We're really looking to individualize a treatment plan and create goals together. That way they can get back to the sport or activity they love to do.
I would definitely recommend Brooks to anyone who needs physical therapy. It enabled me to get back on the golf course to do what I want to do.
Nothing breeds competition and camaraderie in a community like sports. It gets your adrenaline up. Sports has a unique way of bringing people together. Your First Coast sports team understands that. We go beyond the X's and O's and to the heart of the game, where wins don't always make winners and the L's don't necessarily make losers, and where the highlights sometimes mean more than the trophy. Is where the real stories are told.
Sports Finals sponsored by Farah and Farah, Sunday nights at 11:30 and streaming on First Coast News Plus.
Let's talk about some weather around the world here, and there's plenty going on from the out in Asia to Jamaica to local here, of course, as well here, Lee. So we're gonna walk through some of these, and I think the first one I want to share. This was a big story out of Nepal. So we threw our video out of the out of Nepal because there was a serious avalanche there. 9 hikers passed away.
Oh my gosh.
This is in the Yulong area here. It's one of the mountains. It's actually, get this, it's considered a beginner mountain out here compared to Everest.
Okay.
The height is 18,000 feet though. Everest is like 28,000. So
wow.
it definitely is a bit in perspective, but really serious stuff. So what happened, Lee, was they had a cyclone last week that ran up India, and the leftovers of that cyclone hit the Himalayas and just thrusted that moisture up and really just started to pile. The snow made things loose, the sun came out, and then you had some avalanches there.
Oh my gosh, and you said 9 hikers lost their lives? That's horrible.
And I guess, and not to make light of the situation, but it is something that if you go into this scenario, you're not expecting this to happen, but it's definitely a risk that you are weighing, risk versus reward, right? Scary stuff though.
I know there's like hiking seasons and they make people stay away at certain times due to certain weather phenomena. Is there a season, a cyclone? I feel like, when you think about weather that's going to impact me while I'm hiking in this snowy and icy region, you're not thinking of a cyclone, but I'm just kind of wondering, is that something that they know to watch and look out for?
Yeah. So here's the problem when it comes to hiking in the Himalayas. So there's only the hiking seasons you mentioned occur between the monsoon season. So in the winter, you have the northeast monsoon. It's a lot drier. In the summer, you have the southwest monsoon. But in both scenarios, you have gusty winds rushing over the mountains. So you have to kind of try to climb in the middle of those 2 monsoonal seasons when the winds aren't so high.
Makes sense.
The problem is that in the middle of those 2 monsoonal seasons is when shear is lax the most because the winds aren't so high. So the best time to climb is unfortunately the time when cyclones more than often would occur.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep, because like you said, shear. And so as for you all watching at home, I'm sure a lot of you know, shear helps inhibit cyclones. So it's a more friendly environment, unfortunately, for cyclones during that time.
Yeah, and then you get, the unfortunate result, sometimes that moisture can run up into the mountains and cause problems. And this has happened on Everest before when leftovers of a cyclone ran up there and hit the Nepal area. It's the problem with the trade. The best time to climb is unfortunately around cyclone season. Now, these people put themselves into risk, but then I want to move a little bit further towards the east. We're still in southeastern areas of Asia. I want to show you some video. This is actually incredible footage out of Cebu in the Philippines.
Okay.
If we could pull that up, because they had just had a typhoon. This was Typhoon Kalmigi.
Oh my gosh.
Also known as Typhoon Tino there in the Philippines. They have a different naming scale. This dropped just, I'm going to put millimeters on this because I know the millimeters. It's about 300 to 500 millimeters of rain, which is over a foot. And it just in this one area. Now, they didn't get the core of the storm with this, but they got just persistent onshore winds, heavy rainfall, these rain bands that kicked in for over the course of about 24 hours continuously ahead of the storm system.
Oh my gosh, look at that truck.
Exactly. So the river started to overflow, and I think a lot of people were caught off guard from this because the core did not hit the city. But this is when we always say, don't ever pay attention to the center line of a storm, because the overall width of it can really just bring broader range of impacts. We've talked about this time and time again in the United States with some of these storm systems. But my goodness, the death toll from this one, by the way, is now up near 100 in the Philippines because of just the severe flooding. There was some damaging winds as well, but it was really the flood threat out here, Lee.
And as we always talk about, unfortunately, water is the number one killer in events like this. And that's why we always hide from wind but run from water. And so for you to say 100 is unfortunately not surprising, but still just like horrifying all at the same time. I did type it into my conversion calculator, and so your 300 to 500 millimeters is between 11 and 19 inches of rain.
About a foot and a half. And this was over the course of about 12 to 15 hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is, and I think this type of scenario, because a lot of people were thinking maybe this might have been a super typhoon, and it wasn't. It was on the lower end of the scale. So people, and this is a lesson for Florida too.
Yep.
A lot of people will say, well, it's just because this was a Cat 1 equivalent when it hit that area. And a lot of people will go, it's just a Cat 1. It's all right. I've been through these storms before, but they can have a range of impacts out here.
And categories like a Cat 1, that's all based off of wind. We don't here have a rainfall scale. So, there's always these like Cat 1 hurricanes that can do a lot of flooding damage, and people aren't expecting it. And that's why topic for a later time, Robert. But yeah. I think I would love a scale for storm surge, for rainfall, flooding, for all of that. I think we need multiple different scales when it comes to these cyclones and their risks.
And speaking of scale, and different types of risk, I do want to show you one follow-up video on Melissa, because we are still getting reports out of Jamaica, the damage there. It is going to, the death toll continues to rise. I think the latest I read was over 20 at this time, but it's climbing because there's a lot of areas like this right here that were severely hit, and the information is just now getting out in some of these kind of more remote areas. I just talked to a storm chaser out there, Josh Morgan. He finally just left the country because it just took so long. He went dark for 36 hours during the storm, and meaning he couldn't put anything out there because his loss of communication. Just returned and said, there's some devastation. They do need help out there, and it is going to be a long time recovery. Which, by the way, this storm, and I think this does illustrate one of my final points here, Lee, is that a lot of people are saying that the 2025 hurricane season was calm and the forecast was a buzz that it would be busy. I think the ACE, the accumulated cyclone energy, is 140% above normal because we had 3 Cat 5s.
That's the thing. You just have to look at what we had. 3 Category 5s. And of course, everyone in Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, they're going to tell you it was not a quiet season. We got very lucky. We are very grateful here in Florida that especially on the First Coast, our sister station in Tampa, also very grateful that nothing has happened yet, but not a quiet season, not a bust of a forecast. Remember when we were telling you if it's an active season or not, we're not talking about whether it's going to make landfall, because there could one day be a forecast for a very quiet season and there's only one hurricane. But Robert, we know if that hurricane hits us, then to us locally here, it was a very active season.
It's good points. And we share these videos worldwide to just show you, whether it's happening out there, and hopefully back closer to home, you can learn some lessons from what's happening there. We're going to be right back after another quick, short break. We're going to take some of your questions that you've had, about meteorology in general. So kind of Ask a Meteorologist section.
Why do we come here? Reach for new heights, to dive to new depths. You can call it a team, even a community. That connection with others. We all deserve that. So why come here? This is why.
Swing into luxury, where golf and community come home. Located in St. John's, Florida, Stillwater is a premier 55-plus active adult community where golf is in your backyard. This bundled golf course community features a championship 18-hole course, top tracer practice facility, and resort-style amenities. Whether perfecting your swing or connecting with neighbors, Stillwater offers the perfect blend of relaxation and recreation. Live where every day feels like a getaway.
Maybe you're new to all the streaming, OTT, on-demand stuff. You need a trusted news and weather source, and we've got with First Coast News Plus.
That's some pretty serious cold.
It's your most accurate forecast, your weather impact alerts,
heavy enforcement presence,
extended breaking news coverage,
and that breaking news right now out of Camden County, Georgia,
and exclusive specials, all on your schedule. So download First Coast News Plus and start watching for free.
All right. Hey, well, welcome back. We're going to take a couple questions now.
Okay.
Our weather watchers, get right into it. The first one is from Karen here, and we can show my graphics here again. I got a couple graphics here. Are the weather patterns in Jacksonville unique due to the shape of the coast, the river delta, and other local features?
Are weather patterns in Jacksonville unique to it? Yes.
Yeah.
They are. That's a great question.
It's
yes,
a good
they are.
question, Karen. What do you think is the one that's the most kind of unique here, Lee? I'm putting you on the spot, kind of throwing this at you. But what do you think?
Unique. So like, sorry, I can't turn towards you.
Or maybe the one that is
the St. John's
most
River
controlling factor.
Okay. Well, because I feel like the St. John's River is very unique. It influences us here on parts of the First Coast. The shape of the coastline, the fact that the Atlantic Ocean is right there, that significantly impacts our weather across the First Coast, but also day to day. You'll see those ranges from the beaches to places like Lake City and Waycross. So when you have water by, it influences your weather in so many ways. You're going to be a bit more mild in your weather, not as big weather swings when you're nearby water, Robert. Feel free to chip in here because there's just so many I'm thinking of. But of course, our systems coming out of the Atlantic, the onshore flow, that sea breeze, you can have sea breeze collisions. There's just like, what would you like to talk about?
I think one of the ones that is the most,
sea breeze. Cool.
The most
mentioned it.
notable for me is not just the sea breeze, but the river breeze.
Yes.
So sometimes the river you will see this in the summer too. There'll be like a lack of clouds over the river, and it's because the river is slower to warm than the surrounding land, just like the ocean. So sometimes you'll get the river creating a little bit of a breeze, and it collides with the sea breeze, and then or like St. John's County, you'll get like these just really pop up on-place thunderstorms, and it's the land and river interaction. And it's one of those things, like, unless you forecast in the Jacksonville and First Coast area, you won't really think about all the time, right?
Even, Robert, you can occasionally see a bit of a influence and breeze from the ICW.
This is
true. Sometimes you can even see that. And then, of course, bigger picture, big scale, the Gulf seas will collide with the Atlantic sea breeze. And sometimes that lines up over the First Coast. Often it lines up the First Coast. And those are bigger thunderstorms, too. So, lots of influences.
It gets tricky. I'll tell you that. And these are the kind of scale stuff where people will say, well, you said it was going to rain, but it rained like miles away.
Yes.
And it's like, well, it's because of this specific effect that took place.
Absolutely.
Why is there no history of tropical systems near the equator? This person's name was Ratty Eye. Cool. But I assume that's not their real name. But anyways, they did share this image, so I wanted to share it too here.
All the tracks.
All the tracks globally. And what they were getting at, none cross the equator.
You are absolutely right about that.
Absolutely right. And our friend Coriolis is the reason why. Basically, close to the equator, you can't get cyclonic rotation. And basically, cyclones, they rotate because of the rotation of the Earth. So they're basically getting deflected to the right and northern hemisphere, to the left in the southern hemisphere. And that deflection that happens in the air as the Earth rotates under it creates your cyclone. But if you're right at the equator, you don't really have that deflection. Am I saying it right here, Lee?
Yeah.
Can you say it better than me?
No, I think...
Yes.
I'm trying to like think about
camera popped up right on the spot.
How would I describe this
Science.
to young kids? But yes, no, just Coriolis is rotation, and where they all start to form is the ITCZ, Intertropical Convergence Zone, and that's what actually gets these starting to brew and form. But you did that Coriolis effect, Coriolis force.
And these are the ingredients. So I think this graphic shows everything: converging winds, abundant moisture, all of that you will have at the equator. You just don't have that Coriolis force taking place. This one's a fun one. Which country has the least amount of lightning strikes?
Okay, so you actually told me this earlier. I'll you all at home quickly because we only have a minute left on the stream. But I was trying to small countries, Robert. I was like, I feel like this is going to be like a trick question. We were also talking about area where it rains a lot, but it's hard to get lightning. And so I was going to go with the small country like Monaco, but this was a trick question. So go ahead.
So Antarctica has never seen recorded lightning before.
It's called that a continent, not a country.
It's a continent. It's claimed by a couple countries, but it's a treaty that says that no one owns it. My point is, if you want to go somewhere you're afraid of lightning and thunder, that's the place to go. It's maritime. There has never been recorded light because it's too cold for one, and it's too modified, so you're not getting any kind of air mass. It's a very stable atmosphere. Technically a big desert. So yeah,
cool
science.
Thanks, Robert. That was fun. So yeah, make sure to send us your questions in the future.
Yeah, love to hear from you guys. And this is, Weather Watchers Worldwide, we're calling it. Thanks for stopping by. Always trying to geek out with you a little bit. We'll be back a week around the same time talking about what's happening around the world.